Hey friends, welcome to or welcome back to my channel. My name is Max, my pronouns are they, them, and today I thought I would share my day with you. So, for some context, my room is so chaotically messy right now. Yesterday was my 30th birthday and I've had some interesting feelings about that. On the build up to it especially, I was quite anxious about turning 30. I feel like this is like the first significant proper adult birthday and I didn't really know how I was going to feel about it. But my bestie gave me some excellent advice, which was to plan lots of lovely things to do and to actually celebrate it and to actually celebrate myself. Like, I've lived on this planet for 30 years. That's actually pretty cool. So I did a bunch of things to celebrate. I still have things planned that are coming up and it made me actually really excited about my birthday. It made me excited to celebrate. It made me excited to like spend time with the people that I care about. And it actually ended up being such a lovely, wholesome day. And I'll tell you about it later. But then this morning, very early this morning, I have had a telephone assessment for PIP, which, if you don't live in the UK or you're not very aware of the UK benefit system, PIP is basically, from what I understand, is part of the disability benefits system, and I am in the middle of trying to claim that benefit because I'm autistic, I have various chronic pain issues, and all of these things in combination mean that I can't work right now. And I don't know when or if I will be able to in the future. I'm just embracing the fact that right now I can't work and I should be entitled to this benefit. So it's actually been quite an anxiety-inducing process, but I'm fairly sure that I'm at the point in that process now where there's nothing more I can do. Like, it's been lengthy, I've had to fill out forms, I've had to have phone calls, blah 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 blah, and the telephone assessment this morning was like everything now that they need to make a decision about me and about whether I'm going to be able to receive this or not. So I was very anxious about it last night and this morning, but it's over with now and I'm very relieved about that. But because yesterday was such a packed day, even though it was really wonderful, and because I had that telephone assessment this morning, I've come back to bed today and I've just been having breakfast, chilling, having coffee, watching some YouTube, and now, even though I'm still really tired, I want to get up. The time is 12:44. My younger self would have been like, oh, I really wish I would have gotten up earlier or I would have been able to get up earlier, but at this point in my life I'm like, I needed this rest. I'm not gonna shame myself for it. So basically the aim of the day today, it's Monday as well by the way, it's the beginning of the week. The aim of today is to get my room straight, to feel a little bit more like refreshed for the start of the week because it's been such a strange transition into this week. I'm gonna go for a walk and take the dog out. I'm probably gonna do some editing, and if I have the energy I might try to tick some things off of my to-do list for the week, but we'll see how that goes. Thanks for joining me today. Let's get to it. So friends, we are officially on the walk. It could be going smoother. We got about 100 metres from the house and somebody decided to do a poop, so we picked up said poop. Then I realised I was frustrated because I was too hot, so then I was like, shall we just go home, dump the poop, leave the coat at home and come back out again? So we've restarted and here we are, it's going slightly more smoothly. Friends, very weird things are happening around and about today. I just was recording the dog in that little clip that you just saw, and some post or delivery guy or something thought I was recording him and then decided to proceed to record me recording my dog. Is that weird? Like, you can't just record people because they're recording their dog. Maybe he thought I was recording him or something, but it was very weird. Just the realities of trying to film in public, I guess. So, we just got in from that walk and I'm a lot more tired after it than I thought I would be. I think I overestimated my capacity to bounce back from this morning's phone call. So, in understanding that information about myself today, I'm going to drastically lower my expectations. I've just had a quick look at the to-do list that I wrote for myself for the week this week, because I have a few bits and bobs to get on with, because on Sunday I'm going to visit my bestie for just under 2 weeks. So there's some things that I need to do before I leave, and obviously I need to pack, which as an autistic person is always a task. So I just thought I'd have a little look at my list and see whether there's anything that I can be ticking off today that is like a lot more of a low energy task. And one of the things that I wanted to do was, I have a friend who has helped me out with some things in the past and that I wanted to offer something back to them, and so I offered to create a mural for them. I have painted murals in the past. I used to volunteer at a community space in my area and painted a mural for them. I love doing artistic, creative things like that, and my friend was really interested in receiving that offering from me, and so I offered to do some like draft drawings of the image that I have in my head of this mural, and I wanted to do that at some point this week. So I think that's what I'm going to do now, just to ease myself in to getting some things done, just to start off the afternoon with something slower and more enjoyable for my brain to get on with. And I think I'll leave the rest of the list for later on in the week and just get on with some editing after that. Honestly, if this was a normal week and I wasn't leaving on Sunday, I would not be doing anything else really for the rest of the day. And when I think about it in that way, it kind of calls into question for me, like, am I putting too many demands on myself this week, or are there things that actually really don't need to be done, or am I just expecting too much of myself this week? I don't know. I definitely need to edit the video that I want to get on with editing today. I need to do that this week because it's for something that's not for my channel. It's for the Literary Gladiators YouTube channel are doing an alphabet roundtable reads that I have participated in. So I need to get my video to Josh from Literary Gladiators this week. So I'm going to edit that, and maybe then I'll just sit and go through my to-do list for the week and just actually spend time sitting with each task and establishing, does this really need to be done this week, or am I just putting too much on my plate? Because that is my natural inclination, to put too much on my plate. But I have learned through autistic burnout that there are always things that can come off the list. My hat is annoying me now. Sensory issues, am I right? Okay, we've gone for the half up, half down with a little bun. So before I get on with the drawings, I've just gone into my to-do list and just moved some things down in priority level. So I've got a little section at the bottom of my list, and instead of those being essential things to do this week, they're just like optional things. If I have time to do this, I would like to. So it kind of helps my brain to reframe this list from like, I need to get all these things done this week, oh shit, to these are the things that need to be done. These are the things that I would like to be done. If there's time, no pressure. I feel a bit better now that I've done that, so let's draw. I've just done my draft images of the ideas I have for this mural, and I've been listening to Her Majesty's Royal Coven, is it called? Yeah, by Juno Dawson. I'm about 80 pages or so in and it's really good so far. I'm really enjoying it. The audiobook is really good as well. It's read by Nicola Coughlan, and I'll just show you what my sketches look like. So this was the first image that I created. Basically, I got my friend to take a picture of her wall and drafted a mandala mural onto 2 different walls so that she can have a look at what it might potentially look like on each wall so that she can make a decision about where she might want it. I also did them in 2 slightly different colours, so the walls are orange, and my idea was to make them a slightly lighter orange so that they would stand out, but so that they wouldn't clash, so that the colours wouldn't clash. So that's the first one that I've done, and then this one is the one that I've done on the image of the other wall. It's kind of harder to see this one because of the photograph, the colour of the wall changes from one side to the other because of the flash. But yeah, very different mandala on a different wall. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how those have turned out. I'm going to save them as PNG files now and get them sent over to her. And then let's see what we get up to next.
20 minutes later.
Hey friends, so I've just spent some time sending those images to my friend and sending a voice message with a little explanation of the information that I need back from her and explaining some things about the designs and stuff. And now I've realised that I am so hungry. Obviously, hyperfocus took over my brain and I had no idea that I've been hungry probably for a while now. So I'm gonna get some food. I think I'm gonna have leftovers because yesterday for my birthday we had a Chinese takeaway for dinner, so leftovers it is. So I have my leftovers and I topped up my water. Honestly, all I want to do is just sit here and eat this and watch an episode of Girls 5 Ever. So that's what I'm gonna do, and then we're gonna see what energy I have to do stuff next. Although I must say, I don't think seeing it in that way is actually a very good idea. Like seeing living life in the way of like, how much energy do I have and what does that mean I can get done? Because we're not on the productivity train over here. I think I've just adapted to think about things in that way because I've always had kind of a limited capacity to be able to do things. So that's how I've ended up measuring what I can do with my day. Anyway, we're rambling. Let's eat. And then I think let's have a conversation about autism and birthdays, especially the 30-year birthday that happened for me yesterday. So I have some leftover yuk sung, which is going to go in my little lettuce leaf taco, and some sweet and sour chicken Cantonese style. Very good. Hey friends, so as you just saw, I had a little tidy up. It actually didn't take me as long to tidy my room as I thought it was going to. Somehow I always think that because it looks chaotic, it will take me a long time to tidy. But that's rarely the case, so I just went for it, and I don't actually think I got very good clips of me tidying, but I tidied and it's looking good now. I'm sat in front of the window because it's just better lighting basically, but because of that and because it's a cloudy day, the lighting might change throughout these clips, just to preface with that. But I thought I would sit down with my cuppa and have a little chat to you about being autistic and birthdays. As you can see, Cyrus Bean is here joining us for this little chat. He's probably just going to curl himself up there and go back to sleep. But yeah, if you haven't already, feel free to pause the video here and go get yourselves a cosy cuppa. I'm having a chai tea with a shot of coffee in it. If you know me, you know that I'm obsessed with flavoured coffees. I love chai, I love mint flavourings, I love like spiced anything. Anyway, I'm having chai. Yeah, so as I said at the beginning of this video, I turned 30 yesterday and I feel very differently now, and I felt very different yesterday than I did a few weeks ago about turning 30. I feel like on the build up to it, well, I was just quite resistant to the prospect of turning 30. It felt like so much more of an adult birthday than any other like birthday in my 20s or anything. And that meant I was feeling like there was even more of a societal expectation on my shoulders than there previously has been. And I think that was probably my resistance to it, because as an autistic person there are so many societal expectations and so many things that is expected of me as a human being in this society that is a thing that I cannot do, or a goal that I cannot meet, or an expectation that doesn't make sense for me, or a way of living that doesn't make sense for me. And so turning 30, it kind of felt like all of that stuff was almost amplified, because like this really is an adult age now. Like I'm not in my 20s anymore. Which feels kind of crazy to say out loud actually. I'm not in my 20s anymore. Wow. Yeah, so it's almost like because your 20s are seen as like the years of experimentation, the years of trying different things to figure out what works for you, the years of travel or relationships or trying out different jobs and things like this. It's like once you turn 30, there's not as much of that societal leniency, almost. So yeah, I've very much felt resistant towards turning 30. But there just came a turning point a couple of weeks ago, and honestly it's hard to pinpoint exactly why or how, but I think it was around the time when I was talking to a friend about actually celebrating my birthday and knowing that I wanted to do something, I wanted to mark it, I wanted to make sure that I put effort and energy into planning something to do so that I wouldn't be sat on my birthday feeling like shit about myself, basically. I wanted to feel like I was celebrating myself and my 30 years with people around me who I care about. And my friend mentioned something that a friend of hers had said to her years ago about really making it a point to celebrate your birthday, and really like don't just celebrate your birthday on your birthday, like celebrate it for a full month if you want to, like have a bunch of different things planned to celebrate your birthday. And that really felt right for me for this specific birthday, for this 30-year birthday. And I've said recently as well, I think it was to my mom actually, that turning 30 feels much more significant to me than like a 16th or an 18th or a 21st. I mean, I know at the time when I was those ages it felt like a big deal, but in terms of the grand scheme of my life, 30 just feels like an achievement. Like I'm proud of myself for getting here. And yeah, so I ended up planning a bunch of different things to celebrate my birthday. Man, that is so nice. One of the things that I planned was I made myself a tattoo appointment. So I have had tattoos for years, but I had these two specific tattoos, both on my left forearm, that I wasn't happy with. One of them I wasn't happy with because it didn't feel done to me. Like it was done at the time, it was finished, but the design of it I wasn't very happy with, and I wanted a tattoo artist to have a look at it for me and like recommend in their artistic opinion what it needed. And then the other one was actually not finished, so I'll show you on the screen right now. These are the two tattoos, and I'll stand up to show you what they're looking like now. I wanted to give myself this for my birthday because it's something that I've been meaning to get sorted for a number of years. So this is what the hand one looks like now. You can see that there's a lot more shading around the hand, and the snake has been made much clearer. I also have these stars around it now, which is pretty cool. And then this is what Mr. Buddha looks like now. Basically, this band around the outside wasn't filled in with the dot work, and also his head at the top wasn't filled in with the dot work, but the artist had to do a little bit more work in various other different areas as well, because if he'd only done those two things, because that would be fresh ink, those two things, they would stand out a lot, because the rest of the ink is about 4 or 5 years old. So just to blend everything together, he made some more areas of shading and things like that so that it would all tie together and it would be like 2 different tones of ink. So yeah, basically, I'll tell you as well, the reason why that Buddha one wasn't finished originally was because I had no idea. But if you're a person who menstruates, please let me give you this warning. Do not go to get a tattoo when you're either already menstruating or when you're going to be soon, because apparently, well, definitely, because now I know, the adrenaline that your body goes through when you're experiencing getting a tattoo, it can bring on your period. So I was sat in a tattoo appointment really trying to power through. I obviously had most of it done already, and then just started to get so ill. It was not a nice experience. I had got public transport as well to the place where I was getting this tattoo, and I knew that I wouldn't be able to get home that way, so I had to book a taxi, and it was like a 40-minute taxi to get me home from where I was, which obviously was expensive, but never mind. I've finally got it finished. So yeah, I decided that I would give myself that for my birthday, the gift of getting my tattoos finished and fixed up. Also, obviously, because I was there, I ended up getting another couple of little tattoos done, some little surprise ones. So I got on my right arm this little tattoo that says Hakuwasita, and it means let's go home in the Quechua language. And then basically I'd gone home already. It was a couple of days later and I couldn't get this other idea for another little tattoo out of my head. And I was like, I can't stop thinking about this. So on my way home, I'm just gonna pop into the tattoo studio and I'm just gonna see if they have availability for a walk-in, and I'm just gonna get this tattoo because I just felt like I needed to. And that was this little tattoo right here that says thank you. I'm trying to show it without it being slightly warped, but because it's on my inner wrist, the skin is like turned a little bit. Oh yeah, if I go like that, it kind of stops it from doing that. So basically, I really wanted to mark my 30th. I really wanted to say thank you to myself. I really wanted to remember this period of time, because honestly, it's been such a challenging 8 or 9 months for me. It's been really hard. Like, I've gone through a significant breakup, I've gone through autistic burnout, I've gone through a lot of health issues, I've gone through dealing with hospitals and doctors, I've gone through having to move back in with my parents, I've gone through... Basically, I'm in my fucking Saturn return. And if you don't know anything about the Saturn return in astrology, it basically comes around every 29 or 30 years. And your first one, when you're like 29, 30, is basically what they talk about as being your astrological coming of age. So generally, between the ages of 29, 30, 31, people experience roadblocks and like significant things to have to deal with in order to grow up into your next stage of being, basically. And it's been so hard. I'm getting emotional just thinking about how much I've overcome in this period of time, how much more I've learned about myself. Autistic burnout has taught me so much. It's crazy. About who I am as a person, about my brain, about my nervous system, about the way that I need to live. All of this really significant stuff that I might have known if I was diagnosed sooner, or if the world knew more accurate information about autistic people. So anyway, I wanted to basically celebrate myself and say thank you to myself with this tattoo. And that's why it has 3 stars too, to mark my 3 decades. So yeah, that's my tattoo update. Actually, while I'm here, I may as well show you the only other tattoo that I have. Apparently we're doing a tattoo tour now, but there's only 1/2 left. They're kind of the same tattoo. I count them as one. But the only other tattoo that I have is these. I don't know how best to show you. There we go. Sideways is best. These unalomes on my thumbs. I love them so much. The tattoos have been kind of significant for me this week, and it really feels like it's been a way for me to celebrate myself and to mark this moment and to congratulate myself for the life that I've lived so far and for still being here and for overcoming everything that I continue to overcome on a daily basis. Yeah, it's been really significant and important for me, I feel like. So I did that. I also went to a drumming circle. I have been to one before. I went to a drumming workshop when I was in Glastonbury once, but only once. And I had so much fun. And a friend of mine told me that she was gonna start this drumming for well-being weekly workshop thing, and I immediately just felt like it was something that I had to go to, and it was the first one this week. So I was like, oh, okay, that's kind of significant. It's 2 days before my birthday. I love spending time with this friend, so I'm just gonna go and see what happens. And it was so much fun. There's something about drumming that just does something for my soul. Anything actually musically really is so good for me, for my well-being personally. I thrive in a musical environment, in a creative environment, and so yeah, I was really proud of myself for going to this thing. It was in a place that I didn't know. It was with people I didn't know apart from my one friend, and that's usually something that I would be really hesitant to do, to go to a place that I don't know and to be with new people, and like that type of stuff is significant for me, to build up the energy, to interact socially, to get used to an environment that I don't know. And it was really good. It was really nice, and I'm going again this week. Then on my actual birthday, I went to a little creative makers market with my family, and we had coffee there too, which was really nice. And then we came home and they gave me some gifts, which was so lovely. I was not expecting nearly the number of things that they gave me. My mum's love language is, what is it called when it's the love language that you give, not the love language that you want to receive? I feel like they're 2 separate things. But for my mum, the love language, like the way she shows love to other people, is 100% gift giving. She is a gift giver and loves giving things. And honestly, as an autistic person, I've had a lot of difficulty with that in the past, because opening gifts is complicated and receiving lots of things for me is complicated. Like, I remember as a kid crying and crying and crying one Christmas because I was just like, I don't need this much stuff, and there's so many people in the world who need stuff more than me. And I must have been about 12, and I've had to get used to it because it's the way that my mum likes to show me that she loves me. Yeah, and I think as autistic people as well, it can be a really uncomfortable experience receiving gifts, because you're so conscious of wanting to react in the right way. It can be really challenging. The one thing actually that was really good about this birthday was that I'd actually planned things quite tightly. So we didn't actually have very much time when we came home from the makers market. So at the same time as me opening presents at the table, my parents were actually cooking us a breakfast. So I didn't have people, apart from my sister who was also at the table, I didn't have people actively staring at me the whole time, like waiting for my reactions and things. I did for part of it, but for some of it they were like wandering around the kitchen and stuff, so it wasn't as intense. So maybe a tip for like autistic folks who are opening presents and stuff would be to like have a think about stuff that you might be able to do at the same time, or things for the other people to do at the same time, so that like all of their attention is not on you. Like maybe you could have card games around the table or something, and people could be playing at the same time as you opening your gifts. I don't know, just an idea so that everyone isn't so heavily perceiving you at once, because that can be so intense. So yeah, we had that experience and I opened my things, which I'm so grateful for. It was so lovely. And then I went to go pottery painting with my friend, which was really lovely. It was quite overstimulating though. The whole day was quite overstimulating, to be honest. And funnily enough, the night before, I had a really bad sensory overload, had a meltdown because of the sensory overload, ended up in bed really, really early because I'd had that meltdown due to the sensory overload, and then it was my birthday the next morning and it was a packed day. So one of the things that's actually been the most challenging over the last few days has been managing my sensory experience. There have been moments throughout the last few days that even my own voice, like even just speaking and hearing my voice come out my mouth, hearing my voice in my ears, was too much for me. So it's been a lot of wearing my loop earplugs, wearing ear defenders, having a weighted blanket on me, carrying my sunglasses around, all of these types of sensory aids, just to try and control how much input I was receiving. So anyway, yeah, I went to this pottery painting place with my friend on the afternoon of my birthday, and I was so glad I planned this. It was so fun. The downside of it was that there were lots of kids in there, so it was too loud for me. I'm gonna go back, I know I am, I just don't know when or why yet. But the next time I go, I'm definitely gonna go in the middle of a weekday when it's a bit quieter, because there was a party of kids going on in the upstairs of the place, and there were kids like with their families just around generally at the tables. But it was such a cool place. Basically it's a cafe, so you can order drinks and cakes and things like that, but at the same time, across the entire wall of one of the walls of this place, they had pieces of pottery that had already been created, already been made, and were labelled with a felt tip pen how much you would pay to paint that piece of pottery. So I chose a mug, and it was actually a similar size to this but a slightly different shape. Like, this is very curved at the sides, and the mug that I painted was like slightly more open. I'll try and insert some pictures of what I painted on it. It was honestly so much fun. And you get provided with all of the ceramic paints and the paint brushes and a guide of like, this is all the numbers of each colour, but this is what that colour will look like when it goes into the kiln, because when those colours are fired, the colour changes slightly. So you're provided with all of that, you're given all the information and all the instructions and stuff, and then you just start painting, and it was so much fun. I loved it. I might actually see if my sister wants to go for her birthday, because that would give me another chance to go on a quieter day. But yeah, I'm so glad I went for it and planned that with my friend, because I've been wanting to go to this place for a while because I knew I'd love it. I knew I'd love painting a piece of pottery, anything creative, and I'm like there. So yeah, that was a lovely little activity for my birthday afternoon. And then I just came home and had a takeaway with my family for the evening, and we watched some shitty TV and then went to bed. I also though decided to have some time away and go visit my bestie to celebrate my birthday as well, because it's been an intense few months and I could really do with the break. If you know, if you've seen any of my recent videos, I've also been apartment hunting recently, and that really took it out of me too. So I'm just gonna go away for a bit. I'll be away for less than 2 weeks, so it'll just be a nice little break, see some friends and come back and carry on with my apartment hunt. But yeah, it was a really intense week because I'd planned those few things, and I was actually having a conversation with my autism coach about this week just gone, because I had a session with them this week too, and we were talking about demand avoidance and about the fact that when I look at my calendar for the week and there's like multiple things on it, I'm like, oh god, do I have to do all of those things? Oh, that looks like too much. That looks overwhelming. That looks like I'm not going to have any freedom of my time. That looks like, yeah, just too much for me, overwhelming. I don't want to do that many things in 1 week. Like, that's the initial reaction that seeing my calendar look like that elicits in my body. And then when I look at each of the individual things, I'm like, oh yeah, I really want to do that. I really want to do that. I really want to do that. So I wouldn't have changed any of the things that I did last week. I think it can just be a little bit of a challenging balancing act to figure out how much can I actually cope with doing versus how much do I want to do. Like, I can want to do so many things. This is the trouble with having autism and ADHD at the same time. I can want to do so much and I can want to be able to do so much, and I can't. I just don't have that capacity. My autistic self gets so easily overwhelmed, overstimulated, sensory overload, all these experiences that limit my capacity. And I think if I'd done one or maybe even two more things last week, it would have been way too much. Like, I had whole days last week in between my activities just to rest, because it was such a socially heavy week and a heavy week of new activities and new places, and I'm wiped after it basically. But because it was my birthday week, I'm glad that I did everything that I did, and I don't regret wiping myself out in this instance. Like, this is obviously not sustainable for me for all the time, but I'm so glad that I intentionally did a bunch of little things to celebrate and to feel good in myself, and to feel like, yeah, I'm intentionally congratulating myself, I'm intentionally honouring myself, I'm intentionally saying, fuck yeah, I'm turning 30 and I'm proud of myself. So yeah, it's been kind of up and down and mostly up. 30 feels weird, man. Basically, I feel grateful for the period of time that I've gone through, for going through autistic burnout, to be able to know so intimately how much I can handle and how much capacity I have. And I would just encourage you, if you're going to be celebrating a birthday soon, whether you're autistic or not, to celebrate and to congratulate yourself and to thank yourself, especially if it's a significant birthday. And obviously, if you are autistic, bear in mind your capacity. Plan a bunch of little things, even if they're things that you would usually do. Like, even if you want to celebrate yourself by giving yourself an hour to read, or even if you want to celebrate yourself by giving yourself an hour to do some drawing or to watch a movie you've been wanting to watch. It can be tiny things like that where it doesn't have to mean that you're exerting too much energy. Okay, my camera's gonna die. I'm gonna charge it now and I'll come back to you in a bit.
1 hour later.
Hey friends, so you've been charging for a bit. Welcome back. I've just been at my desk editing for maybe an hour and using my Stimags to fidget, which are amazing, by the way. If you've never tried Stimags and you're autistic or otherwise neurodivergent and need stim toys, this is not sponsored or affiliated in any way, unfortunately. But I love my Stimags. The only downfall of them is they make quite a bit of clicky noise, which is a lot more obvious of a noise sometimes than other fidget toys. And I'm always very conscious when I'm fidgeting that I don't want to disturb the people around me with the noise that it's making. So that's the only downfall with the Stimags. But they're glorious if I'm alone at my desk. Anyway, so I'm just gonna do a little bit more editing and then read my book for a while, because I'm really enjoying, what's it called again? I never get the name of this book right. Her Majesty's Royal Coven, that's it. Oh my gosh, I just looked at the time and I thought it said 8 PM, but it doesn't, it says 6 PM. Oh, that gave me a fright. I really don't want to do too much more of this today because I know I'm not going to get it finished today. And also, I just don't want to overdo it for myself. So I'm going to reel myself in and only do a little bit more. I'll maybe spend another 10 or 15 minutes and then start winding down for the evening. Okay, let's carry on with this for a little bit longer. honestly don't know why I do this thing of saying, oh, I'll just do this for 5 more minutes or 10 more minutes or 15 more minutes, because I have ADHD. Like, I can't keep track of time. I have no concept of time. So I've no idea how much longer I've been doing stuff on this. I don't know what time it was when I began. I don't know how long it's been. I think what I'm gonna do is not go by length of time, but instead I'm gonna stop editing at the end of the clip that I'm currently editing. I think that will work better for me. Okay friends, I just finished up doing the editing that I wanted to do today. I just did a little bit and didn't really push myself to actually finish anything. I just wanted to put a little bit of energy into that project. And now I'm just gonna chill and read and enjoy my book and my bed for a while. And that's it for me and my day. Thank you so much for joining me. If you're a new subscriber, welcome. It's really lovely to have you here. Please leave a comment down below if this video has resonated for you in any way. Let me know if you're autistic or otherwise neurodivergent and how you experience birthdays. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!